Hello, and welcome to another edition of Dr. Said Says This About That. I am Dr. Cedric Wood, counselor, couples counselor, family therapist. But I spend a lot of time thinking about the political landscape. And today, January 14th, 26, I'd like to make some comments about something going on. And I'm going to do a much longer and larger version of this later, but right now I just want to do a short version of what's going on in Iran. It's just shocking. It's unbelievable. In this world, we tell our children, be good, do the right thing, and we have all these indices of what to do. There's the Ten Commandments, there's the Boy Scouts that say, I promise to be trustworthy and kind and all these things. And there's the the club. It's called a Lions Club, and it has four things. Is it the best for all concerned? And four of these things that was up on the wall in the classroom when I was in high school. So many things. We all accept that you should be a good person and do the right thing. There was a whole movie by Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing. And yet, here are these world leaders that are clearly doing the wrong thing. I, I don't get it. How can you rise to the top of your government and not have good character? I actually have an acronym, IMACE, IMACE, not have good integrity, maturity, adult ego state. There it is right there. Character and emotional intelligence. How does that happen? I'm going to be pushing for the rest of my life for us all to accept certain standards of what we should and should not do. Right at the core of what we should not do is the word ego. So, Sigmund Freud popularized that word. Of course, his three circles were superego, ego, and id. And Dr. Eric Berne, who created transactional analysis, was a psychoanalyst. So that's where he started. But then he switched and made it by this. And then Dr. Thomas Harris followed in his footsteps and wrote an incredible book, I'm Okay, You're Okay. Here's Muriel James's incredible book, The Okay Boss. Same thing. And so we know about these words like character and staying in your adult. And yet people get into power who who score on these indicators of good character that's so low. I'm so confused. How does that happen? And here's the second thing. How does it happen that we're not having psychologists and counselors and philosophers being interviewed on TV talk shows regularly? Why is it that we are only interviewing government officials or maybe leaders of some political party or leaders of some politicized private organization? They know nothing about the psychology of the human mind. And yet, can I really blame interviewers for not interviewing us? APA has a division, peace, conflict, and violence, that are doing almost nothing to get the word out about be a person of good character. What does that mean? And how do you get a score on that? If 10 is a person of very good character, good for you. But people who are running Iran cannot score high on this way of assessing mental and character health. The numbers vary, they shut down the internet, but I just read that the numbers of young people, I assume there might be some older ones there, who have been killed, not hurt, not maimed, but shot dead on the streets of Iran are somewhere between 600 and 2,000. Well, that's astounding enough, but some estimates put it thousands more than that. That is shocking. Why are they walking in the streets and protesting? Well, because their economy is way down. And as one of my clients just the other day, sitting right here in that chair, said, I left Iran and came here because we had no freedom. We weren't free to study what we want to study. We didn't have freedom to dress the way we wanted to dress. It was all controlled. We are in control here. We will tell you what to do. If you disobey, you will be punished. Shot dead if you're out in the streets. Have they never heard of Adolf Hitler? Or do they worship Adolf Hitler? Have they never heard of Stalin, who was responsible for the deaths of millions of Russians? Have they never heard of Mussolini, a total dictator that ended up getting killed and hung up, I think, by his feet in the town square? Remember history, people. Don't you want to do better? And I think the problem is that we're not getting instruction out about how to behave with good character. But where would you go? Well, we have several networks that the government supports, and C-SPAN. And there's one for this, and there's one for this, and there's one for history. I turned that on one day, and they talked about the humor of Abraham Lincoln. Okay, that's fine. That was interesting. But where's C-SPAN 4 that does nothing but talk about the realities of the psychology of the human mind, which definitely includes mental health and well-being. It includes character, and it should be talking about how do you judge good character. If somebody decides to go get a gun and drive 400 miles to his ex-wife's apartment or condo where she lives with the man that she now loves, who she has 2 children with, and shoots them both dead, and gets in his car and drives home 400 miles thinking, well, I took care of them, I feel so much better. We as a society are completely failing at teaching, imparting knowledge to the population what to do if you get angry at somebody every day. There's a story in the news. Well, I went and got my gun and I walk in there and I shot and killed that guy or that woman. Every day. Okay, there should be a law that says you can't report a shooting without playing, I don't know, a 30-second to 1 minute, I guess, taped interview with a psychologist that says, this is another example, just want to reiterate, this young man had a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of unresolved childhood trauma in his childhood. He had a lot of ACEs, that's adverse childhood experiences, and that creates pockets of pain, and that goes on to create pockets in their brain of wanting to do harm to other people. I'm angry at you. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to stab you, like we had last year up in Frisco, north of Dallas here. A man says, I don't like what you're saying, so I'm going to get a rifle and drive 500 miles down, and I'm going to aim the rifle at a very well-loved young man, husband and father, and shoot him and assassinate him. That's what I'm going to do. Are you kidding me? It's mind-boggling. Not one word about what he suffered as a child, not one interview with his parents, not one story. And then I can mention Brian Koberger. He's a graduate student in criminology. And you know what he did. And And it came out recently that his sister heard about these terrible stabbings in the state that he was living in now. And so she called or texted from Pennsylvania, I think. Brother, watch out. There's a killer out there that went in and stabbed to death 4 young people in their multi-story abode. Watch out. She had no idea she was texting that killer. What happened to him growing up? I think there should be a law that's passed that everybody that kills somebody, mom and dad, and any other parent that was significantly involved in the raising, they have to submit to an interview. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be sent to jail like Colt's father. I think his name is Colin, over in Appalachia. 14-year-old went in 2024, shot and killed 4 people. He's in jail for the rest of his life. Didn't think about that. And then his father shows up. Not one question about the counseling that he got with his wife that they fought. He fought with like cats and dogs for several years, locking the kids outside the door. She finally packing up 2 of the kids and moving off. So here's this little boy, 12, 13, left alone. No mother, no siblings, but a dad who says, "We're okay, son. Here, take this rifle. Let's go out and kill animals." Well, don't get me wrong. My grandfather was a devout sportsman and had many trophies from his many hunts. So I'm not anti-gun. I'm not anti-hunting. What I am is pro-family therapy. Your son's kind of, even the cops came and knocked on the door. It looked like he was texting or sending something about school shooting. No, no, no. No, my son would never do that. Dude, wake up. That's exactly what he did in the coming year. And now, guess what? Dad is living in prison and will be for years to come. I think his court case is coming up soon. My heart breaks for anybody living in prison. So that's where I want to start. I care about you. Why didn't you go to see a family therapist if there was fighting going on with your wife? If she and 2 of the kids abandon you and your son? Why? I just did a session today right in this room. Husband, wife. You know how long we went? Almost 5 hours. We have a lot to say. We have a lot on our heart. And there's only one place we can really get it out. That's in your therapist's office. Please look for a good therapist and call them up and go in and talk it out. Back to Iran. I guess it's Iran. These people, and the real catch is that if you keep being against the government, you're against God, because we are like this. We're like this with God. And so what we do is sanctioned by God. Okay, everybody who's at least a little bit religious thinks that they are blessed by God, and especially if they pray. But I'll never forget reading Mark Twain, Innocents Abroad, and all the people on the ship that he was on as they sailed over to Europe were praying, "Lord, give us fair winds. Put the wind at our back so the sails will fill and we'll get to France as soon as we can." Okay. You know what Mark Twain said. Well, what about all the thousands of people who are on ships sailing this way? What about them? Uh, you don't care about them? No, we don't care about them. We care about us. I mean, it's the human state of mind is to care about me. And I thought about it, and I thought, what should they have prayed for? They should have prayed that whoever is in a dire state of emergency, they're trying to get to the other shore because they are learning that their father or their son is gravely ill, and they want to get there before that person passes away. Lord, put the favorable winds behind that ship, even if they're going the other direction. Why? Because we care about other people and their peace, their comfort, their safety, their well being, and their joy. We care about them. So we're going to pray for them. And so, why aren't the leaders of Iran praying for guidance to the best possible job they can do with their government for as many of the citizens as possible? Read Jeremy Bentham. Thank you for that. The best for everybody involved. Putting 10,000 people in prison, killing, as I said, somewhere between 600, depending on the estimates, and over 2,000 people shot dead. You can see the body bags on the street there on the news. It boggles my mind. How can you think that God is in favor of mass murder? I mean, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a spiritualist, but I can kind of guess that God is not in favor of that. He wants peace, love, harmony. He wants y'all to get along. But you are so much, we are in control. We will stay in control. Okay, really? Come on now. Go to the mosque and do some praying and pray about this need and this drive to kill people. Okay, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. It's 7 minutes. That's a long enough right now. And so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Go into your neighborhood and spread as much love, peace, and harmony and joy as you possibly can. And let's learn about what it means to push down our ego and lift up our altruism. Alter in Latin means other. So altruism means caring about and helping the other person. Shall we do that? Thank you for tuning in. This is Dr. Cedric Wood, and I hope you have a wonderful and safe week.